Hey everybody, Green Films Official here. I hope you all had a wonderful Christmas and welcome to the 500 subscribers special. It feels so crazy to say that. I don't I don't have the words to describe how that feels. It genuinely feels like I'm dreaming. It's crazy to think that just a few years ago I was this kid making videos in his bedroom who thought 50 subscribers was incredible. And now I have like 10 times that amount. It's unreal. I hope you guys know how much I love and appreciate you. You guys mean the world to me. The fact that there are 500 people out there who care about what I have to say about movies is unreal. And here's to hope we get 500 more. It sort of feels a bit silly to say this because I don't think things are going to change on the channel that much, but it almost feels like I'm entering like a new era for the channel. But as we grow and transition into new phases of our lives, sometimes it's important to look back from where we came and how we got to where we are now. Case in point. Ugh. Oh my god, there's so much stuff. Ugh. In celebration of 500 subs, I'm going to show you a bunch of stuff that I made when I was a child. Now, film is my main thing, always was, but as a kid, I had a desire to create all sorts of things, mainly comic books and novels and all sorts of things. So I'm going to show you some of those things. Now, I could be wrong here because we're going back to when I was a fetus. But I believe the first comics I ever made were these, like, James Bond comics. I like this one. You can tell I tried to do the gun. I tried to do it like he's looking directly at you. But it just looks like he's holding, like, the gun just looks like he's holding a donut. This one, he's just a stick figure. Like, the bow tie is, like, thicker than his arms. His gun is, like, twice his size. Let's have a look in this bad boy. Oh my god. The art style is starring Jacob Green. What? What the fuck? It's a comic book based on the film by Jacob Green. I didn't make no James Bond film as a kid. Oh my god, is that meant to be a car? Is that... Oh my god, that's meant to be him showing up to work. 007. Copy Comelet. And it scans his eye and lets him in. Jacob Comics presents. He's going do as he climbs up the stairs. Good morning, M. That's supposed to be M. Oh my god, this art style, man. I should be locked up. Okay, and then it just ends. That's a common thing. I would start comics and I wouldn't finish them. One example of this would be Megalodon versus Giant Snake. Action and adventure take center stage when a megalodon and a gigantic snake cause global destruction. The land is demolished by the huge snake, and army boats are sunk to the bottom of the ocean because of the megalodon. When the snake goes under the water, and both the monsters fight for their lives, who will win? Sounds intriguing, right? Very clearly inspired by those Mega Shark movies by the Asylum, which I think are terrible now, but I loved as a kid. Anyways, this one I didn't even start. I think part of the problem is that sometimes I would be obsessed with the idea of, like, the idea of making these things, and, like, I would come up with plots in my mind, and then, sometimes I would go to actually create it, and sometimes it would work out and sometimes it wouldn't. So yeah, there's quite a few unfinished comic books that younger me never finished, and as such will never know how they would have been. Anyways, on to the next James Bond one. 007 James Bond, The Train Murder. Okay, so I think this one was very clearly inspired by the opening of Skyfall. So let's give this one a read. 2014, September 30th. The very specific date. Hurry up! Get your ass over... Ooh, little 8-year-old me was writing ass in his comics. Aren't I naughty? Huff, puff. Take your shot, guys. Bang! Guy's dead. I have my own. Oh, there's treachery amongst these baddies. At least I think they're baddies. So, M. Oh, there's M again. Bond. Murder. What the? Murder. Murder has happened, I think that says. What? Murder. Bloody hell. Bloody hell. I wish younger me, like, I could bring him from the past to explain to me what the hell's meant to be going on in this comic. Oh, so the bad guy's falling. Damn you, Bond. Pow. And he's dead. Damn you, Bond. And as he falls to his death, you would think it would be like, ah, as he falls. No, it's, oh, damn you, Bond. But now we reached the part of my childhood where I started to become a Godzilla fan, and I created this Godzilla. Oh, it's a bit bright on the light. Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla. The way I've drawn Godzilla, Mechagodzilla, and Rodan there. All you Godzilla fans out there have been wondering, are there any Godzilla comics? Well, of course there is. Go to Impact Comics and you have got Godzilla comics. Besides this one, Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla. Sure, buddy. Whatever you say. Okay, so going through this comic, what I can make out of it anyway. The first Godzilla movie I ever saw as a little 8-year-old kid was Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2. So this comic is pretty much just the events of that film condensed in comic form by very shittily by 8-year-old me. Very indecipherable. This is like oh god, there aren't words for this. It's but yeah, anything that happens in Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2, I guess, happens in this comic. They go to an island and Rodan is there, and Godzilla and Rodan have a little fight, so that happens. Mechagodzilla and Godzilla have a bit of a fight. There's a little tussle with the military. I believe those are meant to be a bunch of tanks. And Godzilla and Mechagodzilla have another fight in the city. Rodan shows up to help. Oh my god, this art style, bro. This art style. I like this guy that it keeps cutting to piloting Mechagodzilla. Take that. Yeah. And then at the end it says Godzilla versus King Ghidorah next time. King Ghidorah instead of King Ghidorah. Masterpiece. Here I present to you Full Moon Werewolf. This is another unfinished one. Actually, let's read the blurb first. A man keeps on studying werewolves even though he doesn't believe in them. This has been since the Goss. Then he becomes one for his punishment. He seems to enjoy it. Kinky. Yeah, Full Moon Werewolf is another unfinished one. There's only one page, but I want to share it with you because it's funny. Jacob Green presents the following is PG-13+, which is funny because I wasn't even 13 when I made this. Halloween Studios, no budget production. Horror Inc. There's a claw. Midnight. Oh my god. The panels are so horribly drawn. Suitsmen, Royan Taylor, Michael John. What, 18 years later? Click, click. That's meant to be him looking at a werewolf on a computer. Click, click, click. And then someone's approaching him with a knife, I think. Stab. Exterior of his house. Ah! And then that's it. That's all I did on that one. I mainly thought zero budget pre-action was funny. I think where my comic creation truly started to kick off, though, was with the creation of this puppy, The Adventures of Captain Obvious. To you, Captain Obvious is just the creation of a small child, but to me, Captain Obvious is my son. This is a really big deal to me as a kid. Captain Obvious was effectively my mascot. He was like my main creation. This shit genuinely spawned a series, like an entire franchise. There were like reboots and like mini spin-off comics. Me and my friend Toasty755 would like make Captain Obvious comics together in like primary school and sell them on like the school market days. It was Captain Obvious was effectively my baby. But you may be wondering, what's the whole deal with Captain Obvious? Well, the basic idea of the Captain Obvious series is that Captain Obvious is this kind and heroic guy, but as his title, as his name suggests, he states the obvious all the time. It's sort of his main thing. So it's sort of, I guess, people put up with him simply because he saves the city. And he has a brother named Jimmy who he lives with, and they also have a cat whose name is just Cat. And the idea with Cat is that Cat can talk and stuff, and no one questions it. And their arch nemesis was Cowboy, which I don't know why I made him a cowboy, because he's more of a scientist. But the idea with Cowboy is that he lives in a lab, literally called Evil Lab, and he makes makes these little potions to give himself superpowers, and he tries to take over the city. Let's read the blurb. Oh my god, this is so faded now. Thanks, Captain Obvious. And it says Comedy Inc. on the side there. Can Captain Obvious, Cat, and Jimmy save the world from Cowboy? Find out in this book. And then I've got Captain Obvious, Jimmy, and Cat there all saying things, but it's I cannot make out what it says now. It's completely faded. This, yeah, I don't know what they're saying, man. You can see I began work in 2013 and I finished in 2014. Green books. Oh, and I've got a little rip-off Scholastic logo on the side there. But yeah, why don't we open this puppy up? See what wonders or horrors lie within. Oh, we got the infamous starring oh shit. That's something I forgot to mention. This book is so old that that can just happen. It can fall out of the starring Captain Obvious, Cowboy. I love that little picture of him there. And D with the wrong way around, Jimmy. I don't know why I put Jimmy at the bottom. Jimmy's like effectively the secondary lead, the deuteragonist, if you will. And I believe on the back here, I put the rating. I didn't put it at the front. I put the age rating at the back. The following book is rated 8+. This book will scare younger readers. It contains mild violence, child themes, not for kids under 8 years, or if you're 7, you better click off the video right now. So, pretty much in a nutshell, the adventures of Captain Obvious follows a formula of Captain Obvious just sort of goofing around, then Cowboy makes a new potion or acquires some piece of technology that gives him crazy superpowers and he starts causing trouble, and then Captain Obvious has to go stop him, rinse repeat until the book ends. The story is fairly random and incoherent. Things often just happen without rhyme or reason, or because younger me thought it would be funny. It's pretty clear that I didn't have a set plan for how the story was going to unfold beyond Captain Obvious and Cowboy beating the shit out of each other and Cowboy getting defeated by the end. So there's just random things like there's a scene where the military goes into this ice cave and get attacked by a creature called Dorax, and then it just cuts back to Captain Obvious's house and it's never brought up again. There's a robot bird that shows up to fight Cowboy and doesn't really serve much purpose to the plot aside from that. It just pops up and leaves for that reason. And mostly it's just kind of violent. There's a lot of like fighting and explosions and shit. This isn't good. I agree. You can tell that this comic is being made by a small child who thinks Godzilla 2014 is the best thing ever, because there are a lot of things from that movie I just outright rip, like the tsunami scene from that film I copy, except it's a wall of fire instead of a big wave. The let them fight speech is in there. Doctor, do you think this bird of yours will help win? The hour of man is thinking nature is in control. Let them fight. Mecha Bird versus Cowboy. Oh, there's a scene in Godzilla 2014 involving flares? Well, you better believe I put a flare scene in the Adventures of Captain Obvious. But it's the passion project of 8-year-old me. It's not like it's a serious book. It's a silly little thing that I'm making for fun as an 8-year-old. So, you know. Alright then. Behold my lightning. Beep. Zzz, kaboom. There's this very Looney Tunes inspired scene where Captain Obvious is trying to defuse a bomb. Ooh, there's a bit where the story takes a dramatic turn and Cowboy injures Jimmy, so they have to take him to the hospital. And it says, before you read the next box, make sure you're a fan of surgeons. You remember that iconic log scene in King Kong where they're all standing on the log and King Kong picks it up and they all fall to their deaths? Well, I ripped that off. That just happens almost beat for beat in this comic. Trade Center 2001! No! No! Jacob, no! Oh my god, no. And the final battle takes place on the Trade Center. No. It's just Captain Obvious and Cowboy standing on the Twin Towers and just throwing shit at each other. Where's the money? And then it's just Captain Obvious throwing a bunch of money. And then Cowboy slaps his forehead and says, "That's not what I meant." Well, what did you mean, Cowboy? That's not like a thing. It doesn't make sense. There's just, in the middle of the final battle, Cowboy says, "Where's the money?" What does it mean? I like how Captain Obvious defeats Cowboy at the end by just pulling a big thing of oil out of his ass and throwing it at Cowboy. The end for the first book of Captain Obvious ever made. Or is it? Don't miss the next... What do you mean, or is it? Don't miss the next book. Well, that was a thing. But as a kid, this meant the world to me. This was my creation. This was my epic. And it spawned a whole franchise, pretty much. A lot of the mini Captain Obvious comics are gone at this point, unfortunately. Or if they are still around, I don't know where they are. I did try to reboot the Captain Obvious series a couple times with these, upping the title to The Adventures of Captain Obvious and Jimmy. Though not much really came of these. This one is interesting because I introduce a whole new villain, the Lightning Man. Electrify so you can Electra die. After a freak accident, the sinister Cowboy is accidentally killed and sent to the grave. But when an evil sky comes which brings Cowboy back from the... Oh, never mind. It isn't a new villain. It's just Cowboy with lightning powers. Brings Cowboy back from the dead with lightning powers. The hero of the city, Captain Obvious, must join forces with his brother Jimmy to face his mistake and in order to save the world. This one sort of had an interesting art style because I actually put like background details in chapter 1, Death of a Bad Man. And we have Cowboy throwing his hat in the trash for some reason. So yeah, I clearly had ambition to create something with this, but just nothing ever came of it. It was just never finished. Oh, there's this other one with a huge explosion, building blowing up. Oh, thrilling. I think this one was meant to be, I don't know, because I barely made any progress on it, but I think this one was meant to be like a darker take on Captain Obvious, which is maybe a shit idea because he's kind of inherently silly character. An explosive return to the Captain Obvious series. Captain Obvious and his brother may look and act like normal people, but really, they're spies. Captain Obvious and his brother Jimmy have faced many scary villains together, like the sinister Dorax, the Weeping Angels from Doctor Who, Waterman, and who could forget the Cat Lord? I could forget. I don't remember writing an evil cat Captain Obvious story. But by far the most ruthless enemy, Cowboy. When Cowboy returns, the duo must work together once again to save the world from the threat of Cowboy. But the villains appear to be winning as new villains and baddies join forces with Cowboy. Will the duo be enough to stop this new threat? So yeah, I believe I tried to introduce a couple new villains, Vector, Shadowman, and an evil equivalent of Cat called Fang. But again, nothing really came of this one. It's very, yeah, that's it. So, we'll never know how that one turned out to be. Now, eventually, I did try and reboot the Captain Obvious series one more time, And I did successfully with these. The Adventures of Captain Obvious and Jimmy, Volume 1 and 2. Oh god, 2018, as recent as that. That's only like 3 years before I started this channel. These are fully finished and honestly probably the most comprehensible Captain Obvious media out there. I don't think I'm gonna go through these ones, or I might in a separate video if you guys would like to see them. I did plan to turn this into a wider series. The end of the second book teases The Adventures of Captain Obvious and Jimmy 3D, the thrilling third book in the Captain Obvious reboot series, but that never happened. But yeah, no, I'm glad I did eventually successfully reboot the Captain Obvious series. I mean, you would probably need the context from the other Captain Obvious books for any of this to make sense, so I guess in that way, they fail as a reboot. Like, they kind of just assume you know what Dorax and Cowboy is. Although then again, so did the first ever Captain Obvious book in a way, so, you know. The masterpiece of a franchise continues in this explosive adventure. So yeah, cool to see that the Captain Obvious series, I don't know, I made ones that were slightly comprehensible. What else have I got here? Oh, that's right, my fake horror movie posters. So, here I present to you the Blood Orange. Ooh, scary. So I made this because I found out blood oranges were in fact a thing, and I thought, oh, that sounds like a little horror movie I would like, so I made this fake poster. The Blood Orange. Monsters are scary, but check out this orange. Not yet rated, October 31st. And then, we have the Pigman Street. There was a real-life Bigfoot found that was shot and killed, but boy knows the story of Pigman, only to notice a killer real-life Pigman haunting his street. PG-13 for horror. So when I was a kid, I loved these like Pigman videos on YouTube. I see like these like guys goofing around. They had like a pig mask.
Hey, Pigman! I am ready for you to die now.
They're very silly, but I loved them as a kid. And then I think one day I was looking up like just Pigman on YouTube, and I found this like clip from some very low budget horror film, whereas a scary looking Pigman dragging a rake behind him and chasing people. And as a kid, I thought that was the scariest shit ever. If I looked at it now, I would probably think it was embarrassingly cheap and lame. But as a kid, I thought it was scary, and it inspired, I believe, this very edgy poster. So yeah, those are a couple of my fake horror movie posters. We got this fake Bigfoot movie DVD cover that I made. Bigfoot the Footage, starring Jacob Green and my dad. I'm not going to say his real name. It's meant to be found footage. True events of Bigfoot, rated PG for mild horror. What's the back say? You see what the camera sees. It's Cloverfield meets the Blair Witch Project. The footage will scare you, says my friend Alex. It's pretty damn good, says Jacob Green. Mr. Green has really put his foot in it this time, says my mom. Again, I'm not going to say her real name. After 1,000 times, Green Films has made a masterpiece, says my dad. Green Films, approximate 28 minutes. Copyright 2015. There's like what the hell? There's like an actual disc in here. I hope that's not like an actual DVD case, because that would be bad. Actually, I'm curious, what is that? Oh, I've glued it. Oh my god, it might be an actual CD in there. I hope that isn't like a movie or something. I hope that's just like a blank disc. There's an actual disc in this thing. How about Bigfoot, Chapter 1, A Beast in the Woods? Is another one I didn't finish. Mystery Begins. Bigfoot is a comic book series by Jacob Green. In the first chapter, a police officer's son goes missing in the woods. The police officer claims that his son was taken by a monster, but no one believes him. This leads to the police officer on a how many times am I going to say police officer on a journey to find his son. Little does he know he's on the path of the mighty Bigfoot, and he learns that some legends come true. Well, I don't know if you'd say little does he know, because it established that he knew about the monster. This one I remember. This one brings back memories, because I think I did this one in year 6, and it was like end of year, so you were allowed to do whatever you wanted. You wouldn't get in trouble if you were just goofing around. So I drew this in a classroom. This one brings back memories. Anyway, let's crack it open and see what's in here. Somewhere in the woods. Todd, this is so stupid. Shut it. I'm just looking for my phone. Like the way how I wrote teenagers before I was a teenager. Now, where did I drop it? Can we go home now? Just shut up. How? What the fuck? What? Bigfoot howls in this? What is he, a wolf? Gasp. What was that? It was just a dog. Now let's find your dumb phone and get out of here. It sounds bigger than a dog. Growl. Oh my. Growl. Roar. Ah! There. Oh, he's hanging up a bunch of newspapers. Honey, are you done in there? Almost. I'm just adding a few posters to my Bigfoot room. Honey, can't you forget about this Bigfoot stuff just for one night? It's Valentine's Day. A very loveless marriage here. But Day Robots Ruled Earth, 1 and 2. Now this one is kind of technically unfinished, not in that I never finished like these books, but that it was meant to be a series and it just never went beyond the second one. So yeah, I don't actually think there's much to make fun of in this one, but there's one bit I want to share because I think it's funny. So this kid's dad is making a robot, and he's saying, "Oh, I don't think it's gonna work, Dad." And he says, "Oh, sure it will. It has to work. It doesn't have legs. That's a work in progress. And besides, who got an A back in the day?" It's the corniest dad ever do. Real or fake reports. Report 1. Is the Megalodon still real or a fake now? The Megalodon was a giant great white-like shark that lived 1 million years ago. I think it was a bit more than that, mate. There have been no satellite pictures of this monster shark, but one of the Lake of Scotland showing a creature that looks like Nessie. There is an image that shows a polar bear and a few penguins. If you look at the water part, there is an extremely wide shark mouth like a megalodon. But if you compare the penguins and men and put it with the shark's mouth, the shark is a great white. So the evidence we learned, it's fake. Thank you, past me. Very, very scientific. We got my shot at a Little Shop of Horrors adaptation, which is in like a nice filing book for some reason. On the 23rd day of the month of September, in an early year of a decade not too long before our own. Got enough words in that intro, fellas? The human race suddenly encountered a deadly threat to its very existence, and this terrifying enemy surfaced as such enemies often do in the seemingly most innocent and unlikely of places. Little Shop of Horrors. And yeah, I don't think there's much to say about this one. It's just my attempt at a Little Shop of Horrors comic that I didn't finish. But that brings me to my next point, that I often made comics about stuff that I liked. Like, often I would try to make my own original stuff, and you would see influences from other things in them. And sometimes I was just flat out open about what I was doing, and I would just make, like, adaptations. Such as The Thing. And you might be thinking, Jacob, you're a bit young to be watching The Thing, and you were right. So basically, the lore behind this comic is that as a kid, I really wanted to watch The Thing because I thought it looked way up my alley, but I couldn't because it was MA-15 and I was like 9. So I got around it by saying, fine, if I can't watch The Thing, I'll make my own version. So let's give it a read. The following story is 9+ for blood, horror, violence, and fear themes, based off the 2 movies and the novel Who Goes There. A group of sin tests start studying in Antarctica until they are disturbed by the noise of a helicopter. They leave their tent to tell the helicopter to go away, only to notice the helicopter is shooting a dog. Fortunately, the dog escapes but mutates and freezes in ice. The scientists release it. John, you look different. All scientists... I like that, by the way. The whole idea of the thing is one of them's a monster and you don't know which one. I wonder which one is the thing. All scientists come. There is a monster and one of us was turned into it. So who is the thing? And then the thing says, it's not me. Ooh, another Godzilla thing. Godzilla, Xzilla, X Ebera, The Sea Group by Jacob Green. Honestly, not horrible drawings considering the age I was when I made this. Meet the Sea Group. After a crazy marathon of people being born that are allergic to every food apart from fish. A tuna-eating kaiju named Zilla starts to eat all the fish that all those people need. I mean, yeah, that is probably the only way to make Zilla intimidating. And also a kaiju lobster named Ebera attacks every fishing boat it can. Who will stop this madness? Praise the king of the monsters. Yep, you heard me, Godzilla. Will the monster of monsters be a match for this underwater threat? Or will the world of sea creatures be in peril forever? Find out now, featuring Godzilla, Mothra, Zilla, and Ebera. Will he be able to stop them? Yeah, it's like two of the weakest Godzilla monsters ever. Okay, let's take a funny bit out of context. The pilot pressed a green button and a gun appeared on the side of the sub. Zilla's facial expression obviously meant that he was confused. Suddenly, the gun started shooting rapid-fire bullets. Zilla roared in fear and swam away. Yeah, it makes sense for Zilla, honestly. But yeah, I would love to read this one, but the way I've done it, younger me has made it a challenge. I think the blurb was funny enough. After a crazy marathon of people being born that are allergic to every food apart from fish. I think that was funny enough. Frogzilla, Godzilla parody by Jacob Green. This is what Godzilla fans have been waiting for. Yeah, I doubt that, buddy. I like how I just scribbled a bunch of green pencil on the title to make it look like the 1998 Godzilla. This one I made with like a little comic creation app that would allow you to print your work. What's the back say? There's a frog on the loose, a giant frog. They call it Frogzilla. This frog will fight a giant lizard. Amazing. Can't wait. What do you want to do, Starfish? I'm not sure, Fish. I don't do much. I'm off to the lake. Uh-oh. Oh. Oh no. The fish is dead. He killed him. Howdy. Oh, I'm never going to the lake again. Mom! Oh man. Okay, here's where we meet the bad guys. I love the smell of poi lotion in the morning. And then the starfish leaps out. I'm out. Oh, here's our frog. Ribbit, ribbit. Zap, zap, zap. Amazing origin story. Oh no, what have I done? Now my city will get destroyed. I must fix it. There's a monster heading this way. It's Frogzilla. Oh, what happened to the background there? It's gone. Oh, here's where we meet the giant lizard. Rah. Run! We need Frogzilla. Frogzilla again. Oh my god. Hello. What the fuck? Just random hello. Looks like Frogzilla will win. Rah, boom. It's just this angry kid on a hill. Frogzilla. And then the scientist guy. My other monster didn't win. Raw, splat. Guys, the frog won. Really? Yes. Awesome. Now, what that was all about, you tell me. Now, something about my childhood that cannot be understated is how big of a Five Nights at Freddy's fan I was. I was absolutely obsessed, and honestly, I think my love of the franchise is a big reason as to why I'm into the horror genre now. And this was reflected in my creations. First of all, I found this poster for something called Five Nights at Freddy's Cyber, which I don't know what it was meant to be, whether it was meant to be like a game I wanted to make or a book I wanted to write or anything or something. Rated 9 plus for some violence, horror themes, and terror. Some scenes may be graphic for children under 9. And I also found this for Five Nights at Freddy's Cyber, where like Chica is shooting a laser. We told you he would come back. Sure. So I don't know what Five Nights at Freddy's Cyber was meant to be. Maybe it was a book I wanted to write. I don't know. But more interestingly, as a kid, I loved watching YouTubers play Five Nights at Freddy's fan games, and I wanted to make my own Five Nights at Freddy's fan games. But I didn't have any, like, video game creation experience, no coding experience. So I made games on paper. The idea for these is that, the first 2 pages would be your office, and then the following pages would each be the cameras. And the characters I would just, like, draw in, like, pieces of paper and, like, cut them out. And those would be the animatronics. And then on the back would be 6 a.m. Or shift complete, whatever. This was sort of my IP, Five Nights at Ghosties. I tried to make a Five Nights at Ghosties 2. Never got finished. Barely even got started. I only ever really did The Office. Yeah. And I also had my own Five Nights at Steve's. You get 2 for the price of 1. Five Nights at Steve's caused a series in itself. I did there was a Five Nights at Steve's 2. And one thing that was interesting, you may have already noticed on the main menu of Five Nights at Steve's 2 here, is I mostly tried to stick to, like, actual Minecraft characters. But I added my own guy, who I called Demon Dog, and Demon Dog got his own game, which I remember being the most proud of in the Five Nights at Steve series. I cut out some bits from, like, some Minions magazines. But yeah, I put so much work into Five Nights at Demon Dogs. I don't even think there are any other animatronics in this one except for Demon Dog as well. Oh, a little Freddy Fazbear cameo. So yeah, what else was there? It was Five Nights at Cluck's, which, oh my god, the map. The map of the restaurant. This one, I try to write some scary dialogue. Leave now. What? Oh, leave now. You are not safe. Play with me. Giving me a lot of mixed messages there. Heather is coming. God, the amount of work I would put into these. The thing is as well, like, I don't want to brag, but in primary school, these were, like, fairly popular with my friends. My friends would line up to play these games. It was honestly really good times. Memories. I also tried to make, like, some other horror games in this style, like, Krampus, based on the 2015 film that I was obsessed with as a kid, where you can sort of, there's a little comic intro to Santa, like, he rips up the Santa letter like in the movie. Dear grandson, I have written this letter as a warning. St. Nicholas is not coming this year, but a much more darker spirit. His name is Krampus. He and his helpers did not come to give, but to take. Run from Krampus, check the gingerbread man stays in the cupboard, and stay still for Jackie the bear. Krampus won't go until his work's done. Love from your grandma. So I guess you could walk around the house and hide from monsters. Oh, there's a little fun thing I did. You can open the pantry. Save us. Let Ginger come out to play. Yeah, I never finished this one, but oh my god, the work. You're the one who summoned me. Now get in the bag. My other kids followed the rules, but you don't. I think you're my worst victim yet. But yeah, I put a lot of work into this one, but it never got finished, clearly, as you can see. Oh, what's this? We wish you a scary Christmas. We wish you a scary Christmas. You have Krampus come. Oh my god. Yeah, my god, this is very messy, but it was clearly a passion project for me at the time. Got 5 nights at Burgers and Fries. Very short, simple one, this one. There's like barely any cameras. Oh no, there just aren't cameras, period. Oh, Getting experimental. Oh, and this one I made a little newspaper for, like how in the FNAF games there's a newspaper. Daily Times, help wanted. A new McDonald's restaurant called Burgers and Fries has opened. A new McDonald's restaurant called Burgers and Fries. You mean like that's just what McDonald's sells anyway? Has opened and looking for a new night guard to watch on gathering security monitors from. Oh my god, I'm so bad. Out from the hours of 12 a.m. to 6 a.m. There are new animatronics on the first floor, and they do look extremely creepy, but with their robot mind, they're kind. Well, that's good to know. Oh, look, and I even have the little the end when you beat the game. There's a little paycheck. Name, John McFly, born in 1956. Oh, no, sorry, the year is 1956. Original restaurant year, 1940. You did well, so you earned that money we promised. $420. Amazing. Ooh, Jacob.exe. Very clearly inspired by, like, Sonic.exe. It was at that day there was a new game coming to exe files called Jacob. I was a huge fan of Jacob. What am I, a narcissist? I am Jacob. But I never got it in my computer. But then my friend sent me a copy on a CD labeled Jacob.exe. I was happy, so I put it in my computer. But something was wrong. A text popped up saying, "You look fun to play with." There was then an evil version of the main menu. I clicked play, and I was Jacob, but my guy was above 40 spikes, which killed him, and then the screen turned black with an unsettling laugh. And then a screen popped up showing an evil version of Jacob with a text that said, "I am God." I turned off my computer and turned around and screamed. It was the evil Jacob. The end. Masterpiece of horror. I mean, it's about on the same level as quality as the actual Sonic.exe creepypasta, so you can see the "I am God" at the back. Amazing. We got our Rodan, Terror of the Sky. As the hatching of the egg happened, it spelled doom for the human race. Inspired by Ishiro Honda's standalone Rodan film, which I didn't see as a kid. I've seen it now, but I didn't actually watch it as a kid. However, I did watch Brandon Tenold's video on it, which I was maybe a bit young to be watching Brandon Tenold. He makes a lot. If you don't know who that is, he reviews cult movies, but he has a very adult sense of humor.
What do you want? Why are you doing this?
Look, best case scenario, he's masturbating over the phone. Just hang up.
So I was maybe a bit young to be watching him as a kid, but I watched his video on Rodan, and I was inspired to make my own version of Rodan. This I never finished. However, I will read you the first chapter because it is funny. Look in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Rodan. A group of mountain climbers come across a blue egg while climbing Mount Everest and bring it to New York and sell it for millions of dollars. But when the egg hatches into a flying behemoth, the climbers have to learn to work together to save the world. But a criminal group is a step ahead of them, and if the world is to be saved, they must work harder. I mean, yeah. It's not an easy thing. Now, before I read chapter 1, I want you to memorize that this is meant to take place during World War II. So so prepare for the onslaught of historical inaccuracies. Chapter 1. We shall never surrender. We shall fight on the beaches. We shall fight on the landing grounds. We shall fight on the fields and in the streets. We shall fight in the hills. We shall never surrender, the pilot said to himself while hoping he wouldn't get shot down by one of the enemy soldiers. War was hell, and no one knew this better than the pilot who went by the name of Quickshooter. Why? Because when an enemy was in sight, he'd blast them quicker than the speed of light. But he had no time to shoot when he and his fellow troops encountered Rodan. Ooh, ominous. Quickshooter looked down at the ground from his jet. The battle was taking place at the bottom of Mount Everest. I don't remember any battles happening at the bottom of Mount Everest. I should double check the history books. It was almost like they were running on milk. He saw soldiers being stabbed and shot, and he didn't even know if they were the enemy or his allies. Well, that's not good. Quickshooter. Suddenly, Quickshooter heard the sound of a roaring plane. He stopped, focusing on the wall below him and the clouds around him. An enemy plane could be on his trail, or on his tail, sorry. The sound was coming from his right, so he started turning the jet so that he could show this villain what he was made of. Before Quick Shooter could do anything, something moved about 900 miles an hour and slammed into him, causing the plane to come circling down. There was an orange glow that appeared for a couple of seconds before the inside of the jet became hot. The engine had burst into flames. Sweat dribbled from Quick Shooter's forehead. He was terrified. "Somebody! Anyone! Help me!" Quick Shooter shouted, even though he knew nobody could hear him. Before that pilot said anything more, he crashed into the side of the mountain, and everything turned black. Suddenly, Quick Shooter woke up. He wasn't dead after all. He was being carried by 4 soldiers. They were taking him down the mountain. One was holding his right leg, one was holding his left leg, one was holding his right arm, and one was holding his left arm. All right, buddy. I don't think... Quick Shooter's ears were ringing hard. He could barely hear the soldier shouting, "Are you hurt? Do you need a medic?" Quick Shooter could feel a cut on his cheek. It hurt a lot, but so did his entire body. The soldiers placed him gently on the ground. Quick Shooter saw that all of the enemy soldiers had been killed. He stared at them all those dead bodies. They had won the Great War of 1914. World War II, 1914. Suddenly, a terrifying screech was heard. "It's coming back!" yelled one of the soldiers. "What's coming back?" Quick Shooter asked. Then some kind of monster that looked like it came from hell itself came zooming out of the mist and zoomed towards them. "Every man for himself!" yelled one of the soldiers while he ran away. This beast looked like some kind of mutated pterodactyl. Quick Shooter closed his eyes, ready to be monster food, but nothing happened. He opened his eyes and saw the beast, but it was not moving. It had a hole in it that spilled green blood. Smoke was coming out of the hole, flowing into the sky. It was dead. Quick Shooter looked into the distance. There were 2 soldiers. One had a rocket launcher, a small one on a stand. The other was just a man, waving his hand. All of a sudden, a soldier spoke. "You saw it first when it slammed into your jet. You should give it a name," he said to Quick Shooter. "Rodan," Quick Shooter blurted out. "I'll call it Rodan." There was a brief moment of silence. "Rodan, I like it," said the soldier who gave him the idea. The two laughed. The two laughed and celebrated their victory. But what they forgot to realize is that rebirth is never too far behind. So yeah, pretty exciting opening to that. Alright, one more to cap this video off. Attack of the Snowmen. One is bad enough. More than one is double the trouble. Today, you might have thought it must have been a wonderful yesterday because of the snow. But beware when you see snow. Rush inside, lock all the doors, get a hammer and a box of nails, including wood, and cover your windows. Because the snowmen are coming to town. There isn't actually anything too particularly noteworthy about this one. But I do want to read you the blurb because it's beautiful. Never have snowmen be so scary. Evil snowmen start an apocalypse, spelt wrong, worldwide. An apocalypse worldwide. Yeah, that tends to be what an apocalypse means. Who will save us? John's dad. Yeah, you know, the great action heroes, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone, Harrison Ford, John's dad. Beautiful. That's John's dad. Who the hell is John's dad? And I think that's an excellent note to end this video on. Thank you so much for watching this Goliath video if you've made it to the end. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed looking at my old comics, my creative exploits before I became publicly known as Green Films Official. I thought there was no better way to celebrate 500 subscribers. Thank you again so much. It's a fantastic Christmas present for me to get from you guys. And again, I hope you enjoyed my comics, my little creations, my drawings, my games, all this bullshit that I made. It's honestly, this isn't even like half the stuff I made. There's so much stuff that I left out of this video, or I just couldn't find it, where it's been lost to some cupboard somewhere. But I hope you enjoyed my showings. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Your support really helps out. You can also check out some of my written reviews on websites such as Letterboxd, Backlogged, Serialized, and Goodreads. Link for all of those in the description. I also have an Instagram link for that is in the description as well. And that's about all I have to say. Thank you guys for an incredible year on the channel. Thank you so much for getting me to 500 subscribers. I love you all so much. And let's hope next year is even better. Goodbye, you beautiful people, and I hope to see you next year.